Hello, dear friends. It is said that God writes straight with crooked lines. Let us hope that this crisis will be fixed, and that it will finally be for the good of humankind and for the maximum benefit of all beings. Opinion piece. Ukraine sinks the stock market. Commodities soar. History of a conflict foretold. Oil rises, stocks fall. The stock market prepares the panic button. Russian markets also plummet. Markets brace for sharp falls. Brent crude oil rises above $97 a barrel. Ukraine could be the West's financial Waterloo. Russia recognizes Donetsk and Lugansk republics. Putin orders Russian troops into these regions. The entire West is bankrupt, says Benjamin Fulford. European stocks fell to a 4-month low. UK removes last health restrictions. Russia could be cut off from the global financial system. Trudeau's party takes a hit in the polls. Ethereum co-founder warns of a crypto winter. Indigenous Canadians joined the Freedom Convoy. US Truckers Freedom Week begins. Pluto is in the same position today as it was in the US independence. An unusual conjunction of the Moon, Venus and Mars will occur this week. Let's start. The much talked about perfect financial storm has finally arrived. The geopolitical tension between Russia and Ukraine has caused a plunge in all the world stock markets on Monday, accompanied by a rise in oil and precious metals as a safe haven. The stock market is preparing the panic button, which could cause a 10% drop. Tension in Ukraine plunges the stock market and triggers commodities. The stock market falls by 2.55% due to fears of an imminent Russian invasion, while gas, oil and wheat prices fall to levels not seen in the last 8 years. The threat of invasion of Ukraine by Russia has added to the uncertainty generated by inflation, and central banks politicize the main consent of investors and has led to the Spanish stock market to lose 2.55% yesterday. The second big drop in less than a month. Markets brace for sharp falls as Russia-Ukraine crisis escalates. Investors were bracing for a torrid day from Russia, Ukraine and wider global markets after President Putin upped the ante in the crisis. The world is awaiting the response from the White House and the European Union to President Putin's speech recognizing the independence of the pro-Russian separatist territories, the hottest part of the border situation. Economics. First, oil rises, stocks fall as Russia advances in Ukraine. Oil jumped to a 7-year high, safe haven stocks railed, and stock futures plunged Tuesday as Europe's eastern flank tilted on the brink of a war after President Putin ordered troops into separatist regions of eastern Ukraine. Second, oil and gold advance as Putin sends forces to Ukraine regions. Oil and gold rose after President Putin announced he will recognize separatist republics in eastern Ukraine and plans to send peacekeepers to the region in a dramatic escalation of the conflict. Third, Brent crude oil rises above $97 a barrel for the first time since September 2014. Fourth, Russian markets plunge. Russian financial markets and the ruble plunged on Monday on news of a military escalation of the Russian-Ukrainian border. 5. Ruble plunges, stocks plunges as Russia recognized Ukraine's separatist regions. The ruble sank Monday, topping 80 against the dollar, while stocks plunged to their lowest level in more than a year, as President Putin called for immediate recognition of two separatist regions in eastern Ukraine. 6. Russia could be cut off from the global financial system. The US will target Russian banks and business tycoons if Moscow invades Ukraine. 7th. European stocks fall. European shares fell to a 4-month low on Monday, with auto and technology stocks leading losses after Kremlin comments stifled hopes for a resolution to Europe's biggest military crisis in decades. 8th. Ethereum co-founder warns of crypto winter. Russian-Canadian programmer Vitalik Buterin, co-founder of the Ethereum blockchain system, announced Saturday that the crypto winter, a prolonged period of falling prices, has begun and could benefit the cryptocurrency sector. 9. Write-offs. Recently, there have been many public testimonials recounting wiped credit cards, mortgages, auto loans. Debt is suddenly disappearing in some cases. Is this Gisera? It is a debt cancellation for the debtor who hits the lottery. 10th. Economic secrets revealed. Banking secrets are being revealed. This was done using the central banking system, not cryptocurrencies or gold. Corruption at the highest level that it is still going on in other banking systems. In the end, people will reject the central banking system. 11. Stan Szymanski believed that Ukraine could be the West financial Waterloo. Russia bets on gold and cryptocurrencies while the West destroys itself as it looks for someone to devour. Since the 2008 financial crisis, the world's central banks have been net buyers of gold, led by China and Russia. Russia outstrips China in the gold reserve race to the end of the dollar's dominance. The Russian Foreign Ministry believes that the SWIFT system can be replaced by more advanced systems, mentioning blockchain. More dollars are entering the global market every day, and fewer are being used in trade deals. Rumors of war. First, Ukrainian President Zelensky has called for an immediate ceasefire. Second, Zelensky refuses to talk to Kamala Harris because he says she is nobody in quotes. Third, Moscow demands answers from Nato. Russia needs a substantial response to its proposal on security guarantees, President Putin said. Fourth, NATO does not buy Russia's troop withdrawal. NATO has again repeated that it is not convinced that Russia is in the process of de-escalation despite Moscow's claim to the contrary, and has urged Putin to choose the path of diplomacy and immediately reverse the troop building up and withdraw them from the Ukrainian border. Fifth, anti-war protesters detained in Moscow. 6 people have been detained in the Russian capital after calling on the Kremlin not to intervene in the Donbass. Sixth, Russia does not plan to invade Ukraine. Anatoly Anotov, Russia's ambassador to the US, has stated that Russia has no plans to invade Ukraine. Seventh, Putin orders Russian troops into Ukraine's separatist regions. after he said he recognizes the Ukrainian separatist regions of Donetsk and Lugansk as independent, he ordered Russian military troops into the area Monday evening. 8th, Russia recognizes the independence of the Donetsk and Lugansk Republic. Putin signed the recognition directive at midnight on February 22, 2022, as fireworks burst across Russia and the Donbass. Putin gave a long speech in which he described Ukraine's historical background and at the end announced the recognition of the two breakaway republics, saying it was long overdue. People celebrated in the streets and in buildings, while fireworks exploded in the cities. 9th, 5th Fleet plans to launch Middle East-based drone force. Navy Vice Admiral Brad Cooper, who heads the Middle East-based Fight Fleet, announced Monday that it would launch an unnamed naval drone task force to support allied nations in the region and patrol key oil and transportation areas. The fleet's area of operation includes the Strait of Hormuz, the Suez Canal, and the Bab el-Mandeb Strait in Yemen. Protests. Freedom Week has begun on Monday, February 21st, 2022, just after Sunday's closing of the CCP Winter Olympics. Thousands of citizens will travel in a freedom convoy from Los Angeles to Washington, D.C. in support of a worldwide boycott for freedom and the demand to lift the mandates. Second, JFK Jr. allegedly died in a plane crash on July 16, 1999. However, he said to have continued the movement for which his father was assassinated. He formed the World Army and the White Hats. It would be 22 years, 222 days from the date from JFK Jr.'s so-called death on July 16, 1999 to Freedom Day on Tuesday, February 22nd, 2022. So, what's going to happen today, Tuesday? We will find out tomorrow. Canada. Canadian Indians joined the Freedom Convoy. Second, Trudeau says Emergencies Act still in effect. The protest blockades are gone, but Canada's Prime Minister says the controversial law remains in effect for now. Third, according to Simon Parkes, Canadian members of Connecting Consciousness report foreign troops on the streets of Canada. Fourth, Canada has fallen. The once free nation is now under United Nations occupation and globalist control, according to Mike Adams. 5. Trudeau's party takes a hit in the polls. The Conservative Party of Canada outperforms the Liberals and gains 10 percentage points in the latest polls. 6. The new normal is proving not to be an exception. After 3 weeks of non-violent civil disobedience in front of the Canadian Parliament in Ottawa, the truck drivers and other Canadian citizens fighting to defend their right not to be forced, thousands of riot police and other unidentified, heavily armed officers invaded the area, surrounded the protesters, began entering trucks, arrested people, and beat them with batons and the butt of their rifle. 7th, Trudeau hired international mercenaries. UN troops have been sent to Thunder Bay, Canada, to be used as occupation forces, according to Kerry Cassidy. All roads into Ottawa are closed to vehicular and pedestrian traffic. People attempting to enter on foot are being arrested. The Ottawa Police Department has not been beating protesters. They are UN troops disguised as law enforcement. The truckers are not leaving Ottawa voluntarily. Trudeau has walked out of Parliament 5 times and refuses any dialogue. 8. Ottawa police attack journalists. Ottawa police have begun firing tear gas canisters at journalists covering the protesters, threatening to use force against those who reveal their repression. On Saturday, Rebel News editor Ezra Levant posted video evidence of a reporter in Ottawa being assaulted by Trudeau police. Alexa Lavoie is seen sobbing in pain in the film after she claimed she was attacked with police batons and wounded in the thigh with a tear gas canister and point-blank range. 9. Canada. An MP asked by Klaus Schwab boasted that he owns half of Canada's parliament. The president interrupted him and said the audio was bad. 10th. The Canadian government is using the truckers' protest to invoke emergency laws to seize bank accounts and cryptocurrency wallets, which is exactly the new normal that Great Negative Davos Reset is really about. Next up could be massive electronic and communication shutdown of an electromagnetic pulse weapon wielded from a hypersonic drone. 11th. Canadian pipeline attack. On Thursday, February 17th, shortly after midnight, Coastal GasLink Security called police to Martin Forest Service Road after about 20 individuals wearing masks and armed with axes attacked security guards, smashed the windows of their vehicles, damaged a pipeline and set fires, causing millions in damage. No arrests were made. The government is too busy attacking peaceful truckers. Return of Pluto. First, on Tuesday, February 22, 2022, the planet Pluto will complete a full revolution for the first time since July 4, 1776, signaling the rebirthing of nations returning power of the sovereign people. Pluto brings destruction and rebirth. Rome fell when Pluto returned. Second, this very Tuesday begins the truck convoy for Americans' freedom. Third, astrologically speaking, Pluto is called the Great Renewer and is considered to represent a part of a person that is destroyed in order to renew by bringing varied intense needs and impulses to the surface and dispersing them even at the expense of the existing ones. A commonly used keyword for Pluto is transformation. Fourth, it is associated with absolute, with power, with plutocracy, with extremes, transformations, incredible feats, mass movements, and the need to cooperate or share with another so that each is not destroyed. Pluto rules big businesses and enormous wealth, mining, surgery, and detective work, and any enterprise that involves digging beneath the surface to bring the truth to light. Pluto is also associated with Tuesday, along with Mars, as Pluto is the higher octave of that planet in astrology. 5. This week, an unusual conjunction of the Moon, Venus, and Mars will occur. This week, a planetary spectacle will occur in which Mars, Venus, and the Moon will be the protagonists entering into conjunction. This unusual phenomenon can be observed from the northern hemisphere without the use of telescopes. 6. On the morning of Saturday, February 26th, Venus will appear very bright above the red planet before dawn, while our natural satellite will appear to the right of the red planet. The show will conclude on Sunday 27th, when the waning moon, which is expected to be 14% illuminated, will position itself before dawn about 3.5 degrees below Mars, which will be 4 degrees below Venus, thus completing the conjunction of the three largest celestial bodies close to Earth. Europe. UK removes last restrictions, opt for personal responsibility. UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson on Monday declared the removal of the last national restrictions in the UK, including the requirement for people who test positive to self-isolate. Johnson said this decision is part of a plan to equalize all communicable diseases, such as the common flu. Second, EU Council approves 1.2 billion euros in macro financial assistance to Ukraine. Third, US Vice President Kamala Harris says Europe is already on the brink of a possible war. Fourth, DEFCON 2 has just been proclaimed in Europe. This means that the penultimate escalation level has been reached on the defense readiness scale, which is divided into 5 steps. This corresponds to the highest alert level ever declared, which had only been announced once before during the Cuban Missile Crisis in 1962. 5. NATO is no longer a defensive alliance. NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg aggressively declared on February 19th at the Munich Security Conference that if the Kremlin's goal is to have less NATO on its border, it will only get more NATO. 6. Whatever actually happens in Ukraine, if there is a major cyber attack, they will blame Russia and use it as an excuse for radical financial reform. 7. The CCP will probably go after Taiwan soon. 8. First US troops arrive in Romania amid Ukraine-Russia tensions. Troops reinforcing NATO allies arrive in Romania to reinforce eastern flank as Russian soldiers built up near Ukraine. 9th, Russia has announced that it has no plans to attack Ukraine, but may respond militarily if Washington fails to meet security requirements, and has stated that it wants all US troops withdrawn from Central and Eastern Europe. In addition, it was learned that Putin will lead Russian strategic exercises, which will include ballistic and cruise missile launches. 10th, the threat of a Russian invasion in Ukraine is very high, Biden says. Reflections, in plural. The entire West is bankrupt, according to Benjamin Fulford. Even Canadian elected officials cannot question the World Economic Forum ties to Canada's parliament. This is all coming to light now because a growing number of people are becoming aware of the fact that our governments have been hijacked by an ancient cult. In any case, the issue now is to prevent these leaders from starting World War III as a get-out of jail-free card. This brings us to the grain issue. High-level servants gathered in Berlin last weekend to beat the war drums there in response to the bankruptcy. Albania, Kosovo, Bosnia and Herzegovina are sending mercenaries to fight in Ukraine. The reason they need to hire mercenaries is because regular troops will not stop a war with Russia to save them from bankruptcy. Puffness said, "There is a belief that this could be a great time, and many are now aware of the turbulence and tension that is occurring in Canada and elsewhere. We are also looking at all the scenarios that are unfolding and think this is all good. The more the better. The more people who make their unhappy positions known, the easier it will be for the group to believe in something other than their own intolerable solutions. Be the best analyzer you know how to be. It will be very important to be sensitive to your own sense of how things are going. There are those who wish to bring all this to its knees, and there are some who are preparing to do so. None of it will happen the way they think it will. It could go awry long before it disappears from the front screen of all viewers. Just rest in the knowledge that being an open book and a good source for talking among relatives is essential." And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.